Welcome to the course Compiler Design. In this lecture, now we will discuss about the next concept related to code generator. So that is a simple code generator. A simple code generator. So here we will demonstrate one algorithm for how to generate target code for a given tree address statement. So then how to find out the cost. So in our previous lectures, we discussed for assembly language program, how to find out the cost using various tree addressing modes. So same concept will be used here. So now a simple code generator here which consider each statement, then it remembers operands are in registers. So here two important descriptors are used. One is register descriptor, another one is address descriptor. Register descriptor keep track of what is currently available in each register. Initially, all the registers are assumed as empty. Whereas address descriptor, it keep track of location where the current value of the name can be found during runtime. The location might be a register, stack, memory address, or set of those. So here the location may be, it may be a register, or it may be a stack, it may be a memory address, or set of those combinations. So now the code generation algorithm uses these two descriptors, register descriptor and address descriptor. Every step of the code we have to mention. So what register descriptor contains, what address descriptor contains, followed by its cost. Now a code generation algorithm. Let us see here. The code generation algorithm takes as input a sequence of three address statements constituting a basic block. This is the input to the code generation algorithm. For each three address statement is of the form, our standard three address statement form, x equal to y, op, z, where op is binary operator, y and z are the operand fields, x is the resultant field. We perform the following actions. First, we have to invoke a function get register. This is one function get register to determine the location capital L where the result of the computation in the right hand side y, op, z should be stored in that location. L will usually be a register, but it could also be a memory location also. That is the first step. First, we have to invoke a function get register to determine the location L, where the result of the computation y, op, z should be stored in that location. Usually here L will be a register. It could also be a memory location. So then the second step, it consults the address descriptor in the above we mentioned. It consults the address descriptor for y. What is y here? X equal to y, op, z. For op left operand. First it consults the address descriptor for y to determine y dash. So what is y dash? One of the current locations of y. Prefer the register for y dash if the value of y is currently both in memory and register. Suppose if the value is located both in memory and register, so then we have to prefer the register for y dash. You can use register y because whenever you can use register, it takes zero cost, only takes instruction cost. Whenever you can take memory location, it takes instruction cost as well as memory location cost. That's why preferably we will use registers. If the value of y is not already in L, then you have to generate the instruction. If the value of y is not already in that location, then you have to generate the instruction move y dash comma L. So now y dash, this instruction to place a copy of y in L. A copy of y we assumed as y dash placed in the location L. So then next generate the instruction. Next one is op. Now y is over. Now op z. Now generate the instruction op z dash comma L, where z dash is the current location of z here, whatever the z. We assume current location as z dash. that can be moved to the location L. So again, prefer a register for Z if Z is in both memory and register locations. Then update address descriptor of X to indicate X is in L. If L is a register, then update its descriptor to indicate that it contains the value of X and remove X from all other register descriptors. Then the fourth step, if the current value of Y and or Z have no next use and are not live, means dead, on exit from the block and are in registers, we have to change the register descriptor to indicate that after execution of X equal to Y OPZ, those registers no longer will contain Y and or Z respectively. So at the time, we have to remove. So these are all the steps in code generation algorithm by taking X equal to Y OPZ as the general 3 address form. Okay, now here see what is the use of the function get register. More about that function. The function get register returns the location L which holds the value of X for the assignment X equal to Y OPZ. It gives the value of X, the left hand side resultant value. Implementation of the function get register. We are having some steps here. Implementation of the function get register. If Y is in register, that means that holds no other values, and Y is not live and has no next use after the statement X equal to Y OPZ, then return the register of Y for L, for the location L. Simply it returns the register of Y. Then the first condition fails, above 1. Return an empty register for L if there is 1. Then second condition fails, this one. If X has a next use in the block or OP is an operator such as indexing that requires a register and finds an occupied register R, then stores the value of R into a memory location M by using the instruction move R, M and use it, even if second case also fails. If X is not used in the block or no suitable occupied register can be found, then you have to select the memory location of X as L, whatever the location we use. Okay, now let us demonstrate one example of code generation algorithm. This is very important. In examination, sometimes they will give one 3 address code, generate the target code and find the cost of each instruction or the cost of the entire program. So you may get one question like this, or explain the code generation algorithm with an example. So in any such cases, you can take one standard example, then let us see how to generate its code sequence followed by cost. So the question is like this example. The assignment statement D equal to A minus B plus A minus C plus A minus C. So might be translated into following 3 address code sequence. In examination, most of the cases, they won't give 3 address statement. Simply they will give this assignment statement or some program code. First, we have to convert into 3 address code. Then you have to find the code sequence by using the code generator algorithm as we discussed now. Okay, now this is the 3 address code. First, starting from left to right, A minus B is stored in one temporary T. Then A minus C is stored in another temporary U. Then you are adding these two, that is T plus U, that can be stored in another temporary V. Now for that, adding A minus C. A minus C already repeated common subexpression, so you can use U. So now that can be stored in the left hand side resultant field D. D equal to V plus U, where D is live at the end. That means it terminates. So now, whenever any common subexpression is occurred in 3 address, in 3 address code, so while using the basic block, you can use only one time for DAG construction. At that time, if it computes the same value, then only you can make it as common subexpression. So in our previous class, we discussed DAG for optimization of basic block. Same process you have to follow. Now let us see for this 3 address code statements, the target code, which can be written in assembly language program. So the code sequence, what it contains, first you have to take the three address statements obtained above, then the target code generated in assembly language program, then the two descriptors you have to mention, register descriptor, address descriptor, then cost. Each and every instruction cost also you need to find out. Initially you can make registers are empty, only register descriptors are empty. Then first statement T equal to A minus B. We know how to write the assembly language code for three address statements. Several examples we demonstrated in our earlier lectures. Now here first A you can move into one register, move A comma R naught, then subtract so A from B. Then from destination you can subtract source. So SUB B comma R naught. Now here instead of temporary, the register itself we are using for resultant field. So now this is the code for this three address statement, assembly code. Now you can see the register descriptor first what R naught contains here, the temporary. Finally, the result R naught contains T. So now here you can mention register descriptor. R naught contains the temporary. Then address descriptor, the location. So what the register contains, that means T in R naught. It just reverse. R naught contains T. The register contains temporary. Now T is in register R naught. Careful, you can observe. So these are all register descriptor and address descriptor. Now cost of this instruction. So we know how to find out the cost. Here first instruction we have a memory location M. A memory location M. Then this is the register. Register takes 0. Then instruction takes 1. Here memory takes 1. 1 plus 1 2. The first line cost is 2. Then second line subtraction B comma R naught. B is memory location. R naught is the register. It won't take any cost. For B takes cost 1. For instruction takes cost 1. 1 plus 1 2. Here you can see for every line you need to find out the cost. That is the first three address statement code sequence. Then second one U equal to A minus C. So first you have to move A to in another register, move A comma R1, then subtract C from R1. Now you can see here first previous one you have to continue. Why? Because this is one basic block. These are not independent three address statements. So first previously R naught contains T, that you can take as it is. Now T in R naught. Then we use another register R1. Now R1 contains the result is U. Then U in R1. Then cost of first instruction move A comma R1. A is memory location, cost is 1. Move is the instruction, cost is 1. 1 plus 1 2. For register it won't take any cost. Subtraction C comma R1. R1 is register, it won't take any cost. C takes 1 cost, subtraction takes 1 cost. 1 plus 1 2. Then next statement V equal to T plus U. Now you are adding. So in the above T and U are in register R0 and R1. Now you can add by simply add R1 comma R0. So now both are registers. Now previously what R0 contains? R0 contains T. Now it contains the result. Now the register is reused here with current value. R0 contains V. Then U. Previously U in R1. R1 contains U. That is using here again same. So U in R1. Then R1 contains U, the new register. Then V in R0. Again the dependent registers we are using. Now here you can see the cost. Both registers are there. Cost is 0, but only for instruction cost 1 is used. Then the last statement D equal to V plus U. So V means this one, U means this one. So now add the current registers. Add R1 comma R0. Then you have to move. Now the result is in R0 right hand side. So that can be moved to D, the resultant field. So move R0 comma D. Here the register descriptor R0 contains D now, the left hand side value. Whereas D in R0, then D in R0 and memory also. In both locations, D in register and memory. But for cost perspective, we will consider only register location. Now the first instruction cost R0, R1, R0, 0. Only for add cost is 1. Then here move R0 comma D. D is 1 memory location, cost is 1. Then move is 1 instruction, cost is 1. 1 plus 1, here you will get 2. Now these are all the cost for each and every instruction of the assembly language program code sequence. So now you have to add all the instructions cost. Now here you get 2 plus 2 4 plus 2 6 plus 2 8 plus 1 9 plus 1 10 plus 2 12. So the total cost is 12. This is the total cost of the entire program generated here. So like that, by using the code generation algorithm, we can generate the target code. So using in this format, first you can take the statement, then code generated, the ALP, register descriptor, what register contains, address descriptor, so which value is in the which register, then cost. Now by taking some other type of statements, these are all simple standard assignment statement, what we consider x equal to y op z format. Suppose array statements are there. Let us see the code sequence generated for the indexed assignment statement a equal to b of I, a of I equal to b, assuming b is statistically allocated. Now these are all array statements. Array statement is also one form of three address statement. Now let us see its code sequence. Statement here first we will take I in register Ri, then I in memory Mi, then I in stack. Here stack is also considered here. So now every case here the code is generated. Now based on the cost which are having least cost, those code sequences will be considered for final by the developers. Now first A of Bi in register, using register the code is move B of Ri comma R. Their cost equal to 2. Why? Because for B one location, move one location, but register it won't takes. Then if you can use memory location, move Mi comma R. Then next one move B of R comma R. Here you can see memory location takes cost 1, move takes cost 1. Here also move takes cost 1. B stores in one memory takes cost 1. 1 plus 1 2. Here 1 plus 1 2. Total cost is 4. Then if you can use stack based, move S suffix I of A comma R, then move B of R comma R. Here first see for stack location it takes 1, memory move takes 1, for B takes 1, for move takes 1, for register it won't takes cost. So 2 plus 2 total cost 4. Here the first statement in register case cost is low, but any one sequence you have to follow. But suppose in first case here cost is low, second case here cost is low, like that. You can use any one combination, one complete combination with the minimum cost. Now the second statement A of I equal to B reverse. Here move B comma A of Ri. Here the cost is B for 1, A for 1, then move for 1. Total cost is 3. Then if you can use memory, move Mi comma R, move B comma A of R. For cost AB 1, then move 1. Now 1 1 1 3. Here for memory 1, then move 1. Total. Then by using stack, move Si of A comma R, then move B comma A of R. Now here for Si move 1 plus 1. Then for B1, A for 1, move for 1. So 2 plus 3, 5. Cost is 5. Then the total cost you can calculate, not individual. Here you can see you are getting 5. Here you are getting 9. Here you are getting 9. So the minimum cost you are getting in case of register. So this is the optimized target code. That is best code. Like that we have to consider. Then similarly, another example, the code sequence for pointer assignments. We have the statements like this: A equal to pointer P equal to A. Here, the current location of P determines the code sequence. Now, the statement P in register RP, P in memory MP, P in stack, same the three cases. First, A equal to pointer P. By using registers, move pointer R suffix P comma A. Their cost is 2. For A 1, then for instruction 1. So 2. Then if you can use memory, move MP comma R, then move pointer R comma R. For memory location 1 cost, for instruction 1, then here for instruction 1, 2 plus 1, 3. For registers it won't takes. Then for stack, move SP of A comma R, then move pointer R comma R. Now for SP location 1, then move one location, then another move one location. Cost is 3. Then pointer P equal to A. So using registers, move A comma pointer RP. For A one location, for move one location, cost is 2. Then using memory, move MP comma R, move A comma pointer R. For MP takes one location, move one location. For A one location, for move one location, cost is 4. Then for stack, move A comma R, then move R comma pointer of SP comma A. For A one location, for move one location, for move one location, for stack pointer one location. Total cost is 4. Here the cost is 4. Here the cost is 7. Here cost is 7. Here also again by using registers we are getting least cost. So anyway, that is the use of register. Whenever you can use more registers, the cost will be reduced. This is another example. So then coming to some conditional statements. The machine implements conditional jumps in one of the two ways. One way is to branch if the value of designated register meets one of the 6 conditions, that is negative, 0, positive, non-negative, non-zero, non-positive. These any of 6 conditions we may use. The registers meets any one of the 6 conditions. On such a mission, a 3-address statement such as if X less than Y, go to Z can be implemented the location L by subtracting Y from X in register R and then jumping to Z if the value is register, value is in register and which is negative value. The second approach, common to many missions, uses a set of conditional codes to indicate whether the last quantity computed or loaded into a register is a negative, 0 or positive. Often a compare instruction using CMP in our machine has the desirable property that it sets a condition code without actually computing a value. That is by using the comparison operator instruction CMP X comma Y sets the conditional code to positive if X greater than Y and so on. Now a conditional jump machine instruction makes the jump if a designated condition less than or equal, greater than, less than or equal, then constant or greater than or equal is met. We use the instruction CJ less than or equal to Z to mean jump to Z if the condition code is negative or 0. You can use this one. Then above one positive CMP. For example, if X less than Y, go to Z could be implemented by CMP X comma Y, then CZ less than Z. This is the modified code with this conditional jumps. Now let us see one example. The code sequence for the following 3-address statements. X equal to Y plus Z. If X less than Y, go to Z. Now the target code sequence is first we have to move Y to register R0, move R0 Y comma R0, then add Z to Y. So add Z comma R0, then again move R0 comma X, the resultant one. For the second statement, if X less than Y, go to Z. Simply you can use conditional jump CJ less than Z. So this is the code sequence using CJ. If we were aware that the condition code was determined by X after add Z comma R0. So these are all the various examples of code sequences for various forms of 3-address state. So that's all about a simple code generator. Now our next topic is p-pole optimization. So p-pole optimization is one of the code optimization technique only for machine code. That's why it is called as machine dependent code optimization technique. Sometimes in examination they may ask, explain mission dependent code optimization technique. That is nothing but p-pole optimization. Whereas mission independent code optimization, that is separate, that we will discuss in last unit. So now let us see the p-pole optimization. A statement by statement code generation strategy often produces target code that contains some redundant instructions and suboptimal constraints. The quality of such target code can be improved by applying optimizing transformations to the target program. The term optimizing is somewhat misleading because there is no guarantee that the resulting code is optimal under any mathematical measure. Many simple transformations can significantly improve the running time or space requirement of the target program. So it is important to know what kinds of transformations are useful in practice. A simple but effective technique for locally improving the target code is called as people optimization. People optimization is also a local transformation within that particular block only. This can be done. So now people optimization, which is a method for trying to improve the performance of the target program by examining a short sequence of target instructions called people. The term people is nothing but a short sequence of target instructions and replacing these instructions by shorter or faster sequences whenever possible. Like in algebraic simplification, expensive operators are replaced by cheaper ones. Similar fashion. So here, the performance of the examining short sequence of target instructions replaced with shorter or faster sequences whenever possible. Then that is called as people optimization. We consider people optimization as a technique for improving the quality of the target code. The technique can also be applied directly after intermediate code generation to improve the intermediate representation. Why? Because after intermediate code, our fifth phase is code optimization, which is optional. There, what you will get the 3 address code from the intermediate code that can be optimized using code optimizer. Then directly you can generate the target code, that is assembly language program. That is also allowed. That's why even that people optimization also directly you can apply to the intermediate code to optimize the intermediate code. The people is a small moving window on the target program. The code in the people need not be contiguous, that means continuous, although some implementations do require this. It is the characteristic of people optimization that each improvement may span opportunities for additional improvement. This is the advantage of this people optimization. Now, what are the various techniques of people optimization? There are some techniques. So now program transformations that are characteristics of people optimization, which is also called as techniques of people optimization. Suppose an examination explain various techniques of people optimization or characteristics of people optimization or transformations of people optimization. Anything, same only. The following 4. The first technique or first characteristic or first transformation: redundant instruction elimination, flow of control optimization, algebraic simplification, use of mission EDM. So this algebraic simplification earlier also we discussed, that is optimization of basic blocks, algebraic identities, algebraic simplification. Same here also we'll use. In code optimization techniques, some of the transformations are repeated in all techniques. So algebraic simplification is applicable in all cases. Now we will see one by one. First one, redundant instruction elimination. In the, see, all this we are applying on target code, not on 3 address code, remember. So applied on target code, that is, what is the target code? Assembly language program, not on 3 address code. Previous transformations we applied on the basic blocks, which consisting of 3 address code. So redundant instruction in our target code, if any instruction repeated more than once or gives the same value in more than 2 cases, so that you can identify and remove using redundant instruction elimination. Here we are having 2 cases. First one, redundant loads and stores. If we see the instruction sequence, this we already discussed during the introduction of code generation. Similar example, if we see the instruction sequence, move R0, A, then move A, R0. Here this is repeated. Why? Because R0 contains the same value A. We can delete instruction 2, move A, R0, because whenever 2 is executed, one will ensure that the value of A is already in register or not. So note that if 2 had a label, suppose move A comma or not some label, we could not be sure that 1 was always executed immediately before 2, and so we could not remove 2. If label is not there, if it is independent, then only you can remove the second instruction. And put another way, 1 and 2 have to be in the same basic block for this transformation to be safe. Now the second case, unreachable code, that is also part of redundant instruction elimination, unreachable code. So the unreachable code, the removal of unreachable instructions, and unlabeled instruction immediately following an unconditional jump may be removed. This operation can be repeated to eliminate a sequence of instructions. For example, for debugging purpose, a large program may have written within it to certain segments that are executed only if a variable debugging is 1. So let us see in C programming language. In C programming language, the source code might look like has defined debug 0 and so on, some set of statements. If debug, print debugging information. So this is C code, sample C code. So in the intermediate representation, the if statement may be translated as if debug equal to 1, go to L1. Now you can see if debug equal to 1, go to label 1. Next, go to label 2. Now, what the label 1 contains? Printing debugging information. Then L2, that is nothing, blank. So now the above if condition can be translated into the following form in the intermediate representation. So one obvious people optimization is to eliminate jumps over jumps. Here you can see we are having 2 jumps, go to L1, go to L2. This may be reduced using people optimization. So there's no matter what the value of debug in the above can be replaced by. If debug equal to not equal to 1, go to L2. Then print debugging information directly L2. Here see L1 is skipped now. So here L1 is skipped. That means unnecessary jumps are eliminated. So here the code is optimized now. That is the importance of people optimization. Now since debug is set to 0 at the beginning of the program, constant propagation should replace the above. Constant propagation, the expression can be evaluated as value. If 0 not equal to 1, then go to L2. Then prints debugging information. Then L2 is empty. So that is the first people optimization technique. Redundant instruction elimination. First one, redundant loads and stores. Then unreachable code. In unreachable code, some unnecessary jumps are eliminated. Then the second people optimization technique, flow of control information. Again, here we will consider the conditional jump statements. Flow of control optimization. The intermediate code generation algorithms frequently produce jumps to jumps, jumps to conditional jumps, or conditional jumps to jumps. These are all the possibilities. These unnecessary jumps can be eliminated in either the intermediate code or the target code by the following types of people optimization. First, you can see we can replace the jump sequence, go to of L1, then L1 equal to L1, go to of L2 by directly go to of L2, then L1, what it contains, go to of L2 inside another label. So this can be replaced with this one, the jump sequence. So now, if there are no jumps to L1, then it may be possible to eliminate the statement L1, go to L2, provided it is preceded by an unconditional jump. Similarly, the sequence, if A less than B, go to L1 and so on, L1 go to L2. This can be replaced with if A less than B, go to L2, then L2 is nothing is there, then L1 again go to L2. So like that initially with one modification, one optimization. Later further any possibility to optimize, that also we have to do. Finally, suppose there is only one jump to L1 and L1 is replaced by an unconditional go to, then the above sequence becomes go to L1. L1 if A less than B, go to L2, then L3. This can be replaced with the following code sequence. If A less than B, go to L2, then go to L3. L3 is blank. Here L2 directly taken here. Now L1 is removed here. Then the third people optimization technique, that is algebraic transformations. The algebraic transformations in basic block optimization also we used. So wherever expensive operators are there, those are all replaced with cheaper ones. Our next technique of people optimization is algebraic simplification. There is no end to the amount of algebraic simplification that can be attempted through people optimization. However, only a few algebraic identities occur frequently enough that it is worth considering implementing them. For example, the statements such as x equal to x plus 0 or x equal to x into 1 are often produced by straightforward intermediate code generation algorithms, and they can be eliminated easily through this people optimization. Now here the first case, reduction in strength. Reduction in strength replaces expensive operations by equivalent cheaper ones on the target mission. Just now I explained. Certain machine instructions are considerably cheaper than others and can often be used as special cases of more expensive operators. For example, x square is invariably cheaper to implement as x into x than as a call to an exponential routine. Fixed point multiplication or division by a power of 2 is cheaper to implement as a shift floating point division by a constant that can be implemented approximately as multiplication by a constant, which may be cheaper one. So like that. So x square can be written as x into x, then the fixed point multiplication or division by a power of 2, which are cheaper one, like that. Then the last people optimization technique, use of mission idioms. So the target mission may have hardware instructions to implement certain specific operations efficiently. This mission idioms is nothing but related to hardware instructions. Detecting situations that permit the use of these instructions can reduce execution time significantly. For example, some missions have auto increment and auto decrement addressing modes. These add or subtract one from an operand before or after using its value. The use of these modes greatly improves the quality of code when pushing or popping a stack, as in parameter passing. These modes can also be used in code for statements like I equal to I plus 1, that is increment, auto increment or auto decrement. These are all use of mission idioms. Okay, these are all the various techniques of people optimization. Okay, now let us come to the summary. So till now what we discussed. First, in this lecture, we discussed about a code generator algorithm, then demonstrated one example problem. For a given program, first we have to convert into 3 address code. From the 3 address code, you can generate the code sequence. In the code sequence, you can define address descriptor, register descriptor, then the cost of each and every instruction in the target code. Then later we demonstrated some other statements like the statements with arrays, array type, the statements with the pointers. So like various examples are demonstrated. Then later, people optimization, one of the important optimization technique that can be applied on the target code. Even immediately after intermediate code generation, you may apply this technique, even for 3 address code also, wherever possibilities. But majority of the cases, this technique is used in target code. Why? Because many of the things related to the target code related. Okay. Now I stop here. Next class, we'll come up with other topics related to code generation.